I mean, a lot of things have to happen. I have to provide the right content. One great idea I had was to go around the Great Loop. I would start in Tampa, go down through these canals that'll take you towards Lake Okeechobee, and then out the other side of the state, out of Stewart, I think it is. And then you go north up the Intercoastal Waterway, all the way up to New York. I can go visit my friends with my boat, and then from there go across to the Great Lakes, and then down the Mississippi. I can stop and fish with people the entire way, all my subscribers who live near the water or whatever, who want to meet me and go kayak fishing with me. I can...
Wow. Where is that? July 2015. Man, I made that video 5.5 years ago, and here it is. I'm actually about to take this boat on that journey. It's unbelievable. I mean, I've come a long way since then, in the past 5 years, but in the past half a year, maybe less than that, 3 months or so, I've made some crazy improvements to this boat. So I'm going to make a few videos showing some of those improvements that I've made in preparation for this crazy trip. Well, no place to start, like right here and now. First place I thought I should start is staying dry. This bimini that you see Rich and I working on right here is just made out of thatch. Rain comes through it, and there's no protection on the sides from wind and the sun and all the elements that would beat the heck out of me along this journey. So the first step was to take it down and remove the old thatch. This would make room for something that would be a little more waterproof. Sure comes down a lot easier than it goes on. I buy these rolls of thatch already assembled, so putting them on is actually pretty easy. And it's cheaper than getting a canvas and even installing it and making it yourself. But every year or 2 years, you have to throw it away because it starts to get pretty nasty. This was the perfect time to redo everything. So I started by adding a few more little pieces of this bamboo to the top. And that would make a perfect support for some fiberglass. Not the cloth, but the heavy stuff like this. I rolled it out, set it up, and I felt like I was already starting to itch. Alright, I want to be clear about something. I hate this stuff, this polyester resin. This is a boatyard resin, which is like a mixture of a whole bunch of different resins. And then you get your little hardener. This is MEKP, I can't say that correctly. Methyl ethyl ketone peroxide. Beautiful stuff. I'm going to make sure I can smell it through the container. It's disgusting. I'm going to make sure I've got gloves on, and I've got some chip brushes for stippling. Now normally when I'm using like the Bondo resin that you get at Home Depot, you use one of these little drug scales here. I don't use it for drugs, but you use one of these scales to mix by weight. And unfortunately, the instructions, I hate this stuff so much. The instructions I got for this was by volume. So what I did is I found a container. It's plastic, it should work. A little wooden mixing dealie. And then this is like the bottom of an old rod holder. I cut this off. I went out to the sink and I filled this 100 times with water, and I filled this and it came up to about there. So this almost full is 100 of these. So if I almost fill this, say 3/4 of the way with this nasty stuff here from the 5-gallon jug, then 1 little cup from this ought to be my 100-to-1 ratio. And I'm going to try to make sure that I've got more of this, because they say I can do 1 to 3%. So there you go. If you're ever going to mix this horrible stuff, just get a container, fill it 100 times. It takes a little time, but I'm so not looking forward to mixing this stuff. It's so gross. You can see I've got the bimini here laid out on the floor. I've got a stick to help move the material across to help wet out this fiberglass. I'm only doing 1 coat, so it shouldn't take too long. Fingers crossed.
Lovely. Look at how wonderful that is. How disgusting, how awful. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that wonderful that is. How disgusting, how awful. Look at that. 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 Look at Oh, it smells so yummy.
This stuff is supposed to have 22 to 30 minutes working time, as opposed to what I'm used to using, which has like 2 minutes working time. It's ridiculous. So yeah, there you go, Bob's your uncle. Hope that it cures eventually. Alright, let's do it.
Lovely. Lovely, lovely. Let's do it.
My hope was that this single layer of fiberglass cloth would be strong enough to support the weight of the solar panels, but still be light enough that I could manage the entire thing once it was all built and installed. These pieces of wood here would be a mounting spot for the solar panels. With them screwed down nice and tight, I covered them up with another layer of fiberglass to help waterproof everything. Which meant, more resin. It was certainly nice to see the end in sight though. So again, I hired some friends to help me install the thing back onto the boat. Now we're going to attach that to this. Piece of cake. Right, we got 1, 2. Ow! Watch your head. There's 3. It's nice to have help.
Okay, see, there it is. Now what holds that in? I think there's a Allen sit screw.
Yep. Now if only I had a device to help me raise this thing back up. Hey, there it is.
Holy crap. Damn, that freaking grass gets hot, huh? Okay.
Right. Now the idea is we pull the windlass up and it should lift or assist. Using the windlass motor definitely helped raise this thing up. Now, if it will work with the additional weight that I'm going to put on it, that remains to be seen. All right, hold what you got. But I was also adding some stainless hardware that would make raising and lowering this easier in the future. Now it was time to add a little bit of decoration. My new thatch had arrived. Ever since I first worked with this stuff, I kind of fell in love with it. It looks great, and you can cut it, and it'll stay together. So you just cut it to whatever length you want, and the ends just stay nice. It's easy enough to attach it with zip ties, or in this case, a staple gun. It sure fits the theme of the Kontiki name. Now it was time to put the solar panels downstairs. Each one of these panels is about 200 watts. I'll talk more about that in another video. Alright, most of the thatch work is done. There's a couple little things that have to be trimmed up. But my tiki guy has been missing from the boat for a long time, so I think I'm going to go ahead and put him back up there. What do you say, Bubba? You ready? Let's do it. Things were really starting to look up for the old Kon-Tiki 3. More and more every day, she seemed more ready for the upcoming trip. Alright, well, that's about it for the hardtop that I created and all the hardware and stuff that was involved. This allegedly, because of these hinges here, you can't even see that, can you? That would allow the top to come down, hopefully in a controlled manner, using the windlass while my friend Mike and I are going through the Erie Canal where there are some low bridges and we might have to kind of duck to get under it. So hopefully that's behind me and it all works real good. Obviously you can see there's other things like the isinglass here and the sunshades, and those things are meant to keep me comfortable while I'm underway. If it's going to be cold and gray and nasty and I just got hours and hours to go at the wheel, I now have a really comfortable protected spot. All those nails you saw go into the wood and not anywhere else, so knock wood, this thing doesn't leak, and I've got lights now and a place for my PFDs and a whole bunch of other things that are new and running off of the solar panels. So I'll talk more about the solar panels in future videos, and also about how I constructed all these sunshades and stuff. There has just been a tremendous amount of preparation going on all at once. So I filmed an awful lot of it, but I'm gonna have to piece and part it all together because before one project was done, the other one had already started. So it's hard to keep a timeline that makes sense, but you know, soon I'll have a lot of time to talk about it. Until then, thank you for watching, and yes, in case you're wondering, I did get the jet kayak out on the water, so that video will come out soon too, but I had to wait a long time for it because I was busy doing this, so I'm gonna make you wait for a little bit too. So there. Hopefully not too long. I will catch you later.